my name is Sarah Ahmad and welcome to today's webinar. It's focused on AI-powered chatbots and hosted by Pulsion Technology. At the end of our webinar, we'll have an opportunity for questions, so feel free to pop in a question in the box as we go, or wait until the end and I'll pose your question to the panellists. As a quick note, we will be in touch post-webinar just to get your feedback on the session. Now I'd like to briefly introduce you to our presenters. Bringing over 35 years of experience in implementing and leading digital projects, John McGuire is responsible for the successful delivery of client projects across a wide range of industries. He has a keen interest in software development and AI and improving how digital solutions are developed. And John McGuire Jr. is Pulsion's AI and machine learning engineer and our AI expert, bringing both academic learnings and practical experience on how AI can help organisations improve their processes and how AI can be used in software development. I'll now pass you over to John to kick off our session. We've got a lot to cover. John, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So what we're going to show today is we're going to show some real practical examples. We're not going to kill you with a PowerPoint here. We're going to actually show you some things working. We're going to show you 3 demos. I'm going to show you a demo of a chatbot that has been trained on our company HR policy, so that it will answer internal questions for employees of a company. I'm also going to show you a chatbot that has been trained to provide IT support for a number of our customers on a product that we have been involved in developing. So that chatbot effectively provides first-line support to customers and answers their questions. And lastly, we will show you a demo that is around an email responder to basically allow emails to be read and orders to be looked up and responses to be sent to the people emailing. So that's the 3 demos. So let me start with the first demo, which is a chatbot that's been trained on the Pulsion Employee Handbook. So John, perhaps you could tell us a bit about how we developed this chatbot.
Yeah, so basically this chatbot makes use of a large language model, so LLM, which you might have seen. And essentially we've trained it on the Pulsion Employee Handbook documentation, which means that if we pass a prompt or query to the model, we can get back a conversational response which will draw on knowledge from the Pulsion Employee Handbook, which can be quite useful internally, as we'll show.
Okay, thanks, John. Right, okay, so let me put in our first question. So I'm basically going to say, as a line manager, so hopefully you can see my screen here, you'll see we have the chatbot asking how it can help. I'm just going to, at the bottom here, I'm just going to type in a question. So I'm just going to say, as a line manager at Pulsion, one of my employees has come to work drunk. So not something that has ever happened to us, but it's something that you'd certainly want advice if it ever did happen. So you're saying, what should I do? So we're going to ask the chatbot, I'm a line manager at Pulsion, one of my employees has come to work drunk, what should I do? So let me send that to the chatbot. And what you'll see here is it's now responding. So it's saying, as a line manager at Pulsion, it's important to address the situation professionally and ensure the well-being and safety of both the employee and the workplace environment. Here's what you can do. So ask number 1, approach the employee privately, find suitable time and place, confidential conversation with them. Number 2, it's about expressing concern. Number 3, you can obviously read through this yourself, but investigate the situation, ask for the employee's perspective. Number 4, offer support. Number 5, take appropriate action and document the incident there. So it's given some useful advice there. And yet again, even as a line manager, it may ask that you seek guidance from your own line manager, so push it up the hierarchy. So that's one answer that is given back there. We can also ask it, let's say, another question on the handbook. So let's say I have a disability. What support does Pulsion offer me? So this is somebody who, let's say, an employee who's just asking for a bit of advice here. So yet again, we ask the question. The answer here, as an equal opportunities employer, Pulsion Technology provides support for employees with disabilities with policies and procedures in place that the employees with disabilities are treated fairly and have access to reasonable accommodations. If you have a disability and require support, we encourage you to speak with your line manager that will be able to assist you in identifying appropriate accommodations and support resources available within the company. It's important to us that all employees feel supported, etc., etc. So yet again, another answer there. And let me ask one last question on this HR chatbot. I would like to know about unpaid paternal leave. So you're seeing we're covering quite a few topics here at Pulsion. And yet again, chatbot, unpaid paternal leave at Pulsion refers to the time off that fathers can take from work to bond with their new child. Here's some important information regarding unpaid parental leave, etc., etc. So we're basically giving them a lot of information here on unpaid parental leave. Obviously, I could ask a lot more questions, but we're trying to keep the demos to really just a few questions, just so we can show. But it covers the breadth of the employee handbook within Pulsion. So that's really an example of us using a chatbot to effectively provide first-line support, I suppose, to employees. So let me look at the second chatbot now. So this is a chatbot for IT support for a product. This product is called Velocity. It's a kind of field inspection, field service product. So it's designed for engineers who basically go out to premises and sites and undertake inspections using mobile devices. They get these inspections sent to them, and they fill out the inspections and then send them back to the cloud application. So that's effectively, it's a product, field working product. So let's ask the chatbot some questions as if we're looking for support. So first question I'm going to ask at the bottom here, and sorry, I should actually ask first of all, John, could you perhaps tell us a bit about how this chatbot's been trained?
Yeah, no, it's very similar to the other one we've just seen. So we're making use of an LLM again, which has been tuned to be conversational, and we've basically fed it the training data, which was the Velocity user guide for this product. So essentially that's got a lot of information about what to do if things go wrong, but also just in general how to use the system. So that means we can now pass queries over, asking questions about maybe problems we've got or how to use certain things, and it should respond in a conversational manner.
And it's also got some element of previous support queries that it's been trained on as well, John?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just pretend that we're somebody coming on to ask for some support here. And I think one thing you should remember is, of course, this can be 24-hour support. So having something like this allows you to extend, not only potentially save the number of people who have to deal with support queries, but also extend the hours to be 24/7. So let me ask the first query. So we know the product here, so I'm going to ask a query. So I'm just going to say a simple one. I'm having issues logging into Velocity. How can I resolve these? So I'm having some issues logging in, so let's see what it suggests. So to resolve login issues, please follow these. So go to the login page, enter your login details with your Velocity account. If you encounter any difficulties logging in, please ensure that you're entering the correct email and password, so it's asking you that. If you have forgotten your password, click on the Forget Password link on the login page to reset it. And if you are still unable to log in, please reach out to Velocity Customer Support for further assistance. Let's ask another question. In Velocity, an engineer, we talked about the engineers, field engineers out doing inspections. The engineer cannot receive a job. So jobs are sent out to engineers, cannot receive a job. What could be wrong? So this is somebody out in the field, they can't receive a job on their mobile device. So give us some suggestions on what could be wrong here. So if an engineer is unable to receive a job in Velocity, there could be a few reasons for this. Here are some possibilities. Check the job screen. The engineer should open the job screen for the specific job they're unable to receive, and it shows you how to do that. It asks them to check internet connectivity. The engineer should ensure they have a stable internet connection. And job availability. It's possible there's no available jobs at the moment, and the specific job they're trying to receive has already been assigned that would be to somebody else. And user permissions. The engineer's account may not have the necessary permissions to receive jobs. Yet again, we just see if that resolves it. If not, we ask them to contact customer support. So we're not taking them through some sort of a scripted question answer session here, like a lot of more traditional chatbots. This is really trying to answer questions as if it were a human, just taking the intent of the person asking the question and trying to resolve it as swiftly as possible without asking too many other questions. And finally, I'll ask one other question here. So I'm going to ask, how can I delete a user in Velocity? So really here, just asking the chatbots, I don't know how to delete a user. How do I do this? To delete a user, log in, open the Edit My Company page. Once the Edit My Company page is open, click on the Manage Users. Manage Users page can be displayed. So although this is showing support effectively for an IT product, this could be any kind of product really. As long as you have the information to train the chatbot, then you can generally get it to answer reasonably successfully the questions. As I say, a very good first line support and a way of extending your support to products or services for customers. So the first demo was internal. The second demo here was an external chatbot. The third demo I'm going to show is effectively an email responder. Let me refresh this here. So the idea here is that we are modeling a process where a company receives emails from people asking, what's the status of my order? I ordered something from you, a month ago, I haven't received it yet. To handle those sort of customer service inquiries. The difference between this demo and the last two is the last two were chatbots, and the last two were trained on pretty static information, your company handbook or the user manual for a product or support issues for a product. This is actually something which in real time is checking another system. So it's connecting to another system. So perhaps, John, you could maybe talk us through just how this one works, how we put this one together.
Yeah, so again, it's using a large language model in the back end, but it's slightly different here in the sense that it's also interfacing with the database in the back end as well. So we have a number of orders and their associated due dates, and when we're sending an input email here, the large language model is able to interface with that and check the database for information it needs to then return with a response email, which also takes into account things in the input email such as emotion and whether they're positive or negative.
Okay, so what we'll do here, this is really just a demo here. So we have a kind of input email and a response email across from each other, and we have this button on the left-hand side, get email, which gets the next email. We then generate a response, and we can then send the response here. So the idea behind this is that somebody could see the input email, an employee could just check those emails, could look at the input, look at the response, and then just confirm the response is all okay and send it. So really just making the whole process a lot slicker. So here's the first email. It's like, dear sir, madam, I was wondering when I could expect to hear about my order, and there's an order number there. I've been waiting for a while for this. So let's get the AI to generate the response here. So it's gone off, it's checked. We know from this, we've some predefined emails here. So we know that this is an overdue order. So basically what we're saying here is, thank you for your inquiry regarding order number. We apologise for the delay in responding to you. We should have delivered your order by 28th of April, obviously quite a while ago, but this is just dummy data. We're currently working to ensure that your order is delivered as soon as possible. If you have any further queries or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. So that's the first email. We now get a next email. So I was wondering if you could, I was wondering when I could expect to hear about my order. I've been waiting for a while for this, and I'm becoming quite frustrated. I will be submitting a formal complaint. So you can see that we have quite an unhappy customer here. So we're going to generate another response. And the response is, dear Elizabeth, thank you for your inquiry. We apologise for the delay in responding to your request. In order to assist you, we need an order number. Could you please provide this? So you'll notice in this email, they didn't provide an order number. That's been recognised by the model, and it's now asking for a follow-up order number. So in due course, that would be provided, and then it would provide a response similar to the first scenario that you saw. So if I then look for another email, just to give you another example, I was wondering when I could expect to hear about my order, and they're given an order. This looks like an invalid order number to me because there are only 4 digits within this. So let me then do a response here. And we're saying, dear Michael, thank you for your email. We apologise for the delay in responding to your inquiry. Unfortunately, the order number you have provided is invalid. So it's recognised that that is an invalid order, and yet again, it's asking the customer, could you provide an order number? So what we're trying to show here is a number of different scenarios, and this is another one. I was wondering if you could give me an update on my order. I was just wondering when I could expect to receive this. However, up to this point, I'd like to comment on the exemplary service I have received from your company. So you're seeing slightly different emails, some people unhappy, some people giving us compliments. Yet again, it's got back in a very human sense, and this isn't pre-programmed, so it's basically saying, thank you for your kind words about our service. So it kind of sounds like a person responding here. We are pleased to inform you that we are doing our best to deliver your order by the due date of 22nd of the 1st, 2024. We'll keep you updated as soon as we have more information. So another type of response, so it's quite flexible in the responses. Another email, really the idea about this email is we're showing that it's fairly similar to the others, except you're seeing here that the customer is wishing a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year here when they send an email. A bit early for that, perhaps in September. But what you'll see here is, as well as responding to the order, the model is also saying, if you notice at the end of the first paragraph, it's saying, we hope this satisfies your query and we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So yet again, no programming here. It's really just recognising some facets of the email, and it's trying to respond in the best way, the best kind of customer service way to these queries. This next one is in Italian. I don't know Italian. I have been assured that this is a valid Italian by our Italian speaker within the company. And what you'll notice is when we generate a response here, the response should also be in Italian, as you can see. I won't embarrass myself by trying to speak some Italian here. And for the next one, I definitely won't embarrass myself by trying to speak Chinese, but this is a Chinese query. And if we generate the response, you will see that the response is coming back in Chinese. So effectively, that's the demo of the chatbots that we have here, and I'll now pass back to Sarah.
Thanks, John. Right, we'll now start our QA. We've had a few questions already, but please pop yours in the question box if you've got any. John, the first question is, how would you recommend we initiate an AI project internally? What steps should be first, or what questions should we be asking ourselves?
So I think really if you're looking at an AI project, I think like any digital transformation project, it has to be based on a business need. And the advice we generally give to any customer, potential customer, is that you look at the area of the business whether you can either use AI to make you money or save you money, and where you can save or make the most money. It's in my view, it's a commercial decision here. So if you have, as one of our customers had, if you have a call center where you're dropping 30% of your calls because you can't handle the volume, then something like a chatbot, for example, could actually help you handle those incoming queries as well. So I would say try and look at the biggest costs and where you could the biggest opportunities for making money, and attack those first. Once you've done that, you really want to start to look at feasibility, where we probably look at a kind of discovery phase to check out the feasibility of actually automating the process using AI to solve a problem. And then you generally go through a kind of probably prototyping after that if the project is feasible, and then into a kind of production. So there's various kind of steps along the way, but certainly it's got to be driven by actual business need up front. You're not just doing it for the sake of just it would be quite cool to use AI.
Great, we've got another question. The questions are tailored to the support area. How do the chatbots respond when a question outside the remit is raised, i.e. ask a HR question to the IT support bot or vice versa, and direct the end user?
I don't know whether John wants to pick that one up.
Yeah, so I think it's from a fundamental point of view, we can train these LLMs on any piece of documentation that we've got, and that could mean multiple, meaning that if there's lots of companies, I think it's been widely publicized, some companies building these internal chatbots for employees within the company to be able to query thousands of pages of documents intelligently that they just couldn't do based on a regular search or something like that. So if you wanted to create chatbots that you could query with multiple documents, that would definitely be possible. In other areas, it might make sense to restrict to one use case. So it just really depends what you're looking for in the chatbot.
And I think you can restrict the chatbots as well, Sarah. So you can restrict it to respond on only what it's been trained on there as well. So it really just depends what you want to do. If you want almost like a multi modal kind of chatbot that can answer on HR, finance, etc., then you could potentially do that. But you could also restrict it only to HR. So if you ask their HR chatbot about Velocity, it doesn't know anything about Velocity, so it would not answer that IT support question. But we could train a chatbot to answer both those if we wanted.
Yeah. And another question, in the third demo, is there a risk of data breach if the sender puts in somebody else's order number?
So we would generally check some security there in terms of make sure it comes from the right email, make sure it comes from the order number as well. and it really just depends on the use case there. Obviously, security and privacy are very important there, so it would really just depend what you're asking. But people obviously get people. If you look at real world scenarios here, somebody, you know, I could send an email to Amazon and ask what's happened to my order number. I may have to log in, and yet again, you could allow that. But if I did send an email, then a human would probably go off, check my email, check my order number, and perhaps respond. But obviously, you can also put steps in there to make it more secure, to check other things. You could ask for, you know, them to go. You could give them a link to go and log in somewhere, or whatever. Really depends how sensitive that data is.
Right. And also in the third demo, does the AI chatbot do any follow-up activity to help the customer?
So this one here doesn't, but it could yet again. I mean, we ask for an order there, so somebody says, please could you check this order, and we get back and say, actually that's an invalid order. We could easily, it's really all about automation here. We could easily put a reminder in, some assistant system like a CRM or whatever, and then in 5 days email them again and said, we notice you still haven't provided that order number, the valid order number. Would you like to provide it? Again, just to prompt them. So yeah, if you can do it in a kind of in a computer system, or if you can do it really with a person, then you can effectively automate it through the chatbot. So these are just kind of custom chatbot or custom applications here. They can really be modified in any particular way.
Right, so we're approaching 12:30, so we'll ask one more question. What else can this type of technology be used for?
So the generative AI and really we do a lot. We've been doing for a number of years something called natural language processing, which is generative AI, and things like ChatGPT and some of the large language models are all within the subject area of natural language processing. And you can do other things like we've done some work in, for example, kind of legal kind of professional services sector, where you're reading large documents. Let's say, for example, you have screeds of evidence, but only some evidence is of any interest in a legal case. We can look at extracting relevant facts from documents. For example, we can look at summarizing documents, like taking documents and providing very short summaries of them. Obviously chatbots, obviously emails. I don't know, John, if you've got anything else that you would suggest that using, I suppose, text-based generative AI.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth noting that obviously the AI, it's not new, but what we've seen recently and a lot of buzz around it is these kind of strides forward in natural language processing and the ability of LLMs to deal with massive amounts of text, which now it means any kind of use case you've got where you are looking to understand a massive amount of text is definitely now a lot more feasible than it would have been a couple of years ago. And I think that's why you see a lot of people trying to do that, because it's now possible.
Great. Right, that's all the time we've got available for questions, but we'll take the rest of the questions offline and get back in touch with a response. Thanks again to John and John Jr. and to everyone who attended. If not already, please take a minute to join our LinkedIn community, keep up to date with our latest news and future events. Thanks again and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.